Hello everyone. In this chapter, we will study from hunting, gathering to growing food. Here, the Tushar is traveling from Delhi to Chennai. Okay? And he is sitting near window seat. And once uncle tapped his shoulder and he asked, "Do you know train was first used in 150 years ago?" Then Tushar wondered why, when people could not travel quickly from one place to another, did they spend entire lives wherever they born? Not quite. Okay. 2 million years ago, we know that hunter gatherers were there. They moved from one place to another place. Okay. Why were they moving from one place to another place? There are many reasons. First is in search of food. Second, in search of small prey. Because animals also move, they had to follow their movements. Then, third point is the plants and tree will bear different season fruits. Okay. Fourth point is that the rivers were found perennial, not perennial. They will be seasonal river, and they had to move in search of water during the dry seasons, that is winter and summer. Okay. Archaeologists also have found hunter gatherers what they were using. They were using stone tools, wood, and bones. Stone tools were survived best. Okay. Now here these stones were used in digging the ground to collect edible roots, and in this side, it was also used in stitching the clothes. They are also helped in cutting meat and bones, scraping bark and hides from the animals, and also used in chopping fruits and roots. Okay, here you can see the hunter-gatherer sites. Hunter-gatherer sites is in red triangle, and here red triangle is Paleolithic sites. Paleolithic sites. Here the red triangle sites where hunter-gatherer were found are Bhimbetka, Hunsgi, and Kurnul caves, and these sites were located near rivers and lakes. Okay. Now, as you can see here, this is a Bhimbetka caves, which is present day is in MP, and this is an old site. Okay, it is situated near close to Narmada Valley. Here, this cave provides shelter from the rain, heat, and wind. And as you can see the painting here, it will be painted on a rock shelter. It will be found in MP and South UP. Okay. Now, water sites. Now, water sites. Sites are remains of things were found. Means it is used, and left behind by the people. Here. Now, you can see there are three periods. First one is earliest period, that is Paleolithic. Paleolithic is a Greek word which means old stone, which means old stone. It is divided into lower, middle, and upper Paleolithic. It covers 99% of human history. Then next one is Mesolithic, that is middle stone. Here, when environment changed started, it was called Mesolithic period. Here, microliths were found, means cutting shape tools, means small stone tools. Then next one is Neolithic period. Okay. Here, Kurnul caves. It is present in map 2. Kurnul cave. As you can see here, Kurnul caves. This one. Here, in Kurnul caves, traces of ashes were found. Means it tells that people were familiar with the use of fire. Okay. Now, I will tell you the time period. Paleolithic period started 2 million years ago to about 12,000 years ago. Mesolithic period, beginning of 12,000 years ago to about 10,000 years ago. And Neolithic period from about 10,000 years ago. We can say changing environment started 12,000 years ago. Means that is the age of where Mesolithic period started. Here, the climate change, major changes were taking place in the climate of the world where shift to warmer condition was started. It led to development of grassland. Means grassland time period was 12,000 years ago. Increase in number of deer, antelope, goats, sheep, and cattle were also found. People started thinking about herding and rearing these animals. Fishing is also important one of the part. Here, you can see beginning of farming and herding, where people think about growing plants on their own. That is why the people were called farmers. They also attract and tame animals. First animal to be tamed was wild ancestor of dog. Later they tamed sheep, goat, cattle, pig. Most of them were eating grass. People also protect these animals from wild animals. That's why they were called herders. Okay. What is domestication? It is a gradual process. It began 12,000 years ago. People grow plants and look after the animals. Okay, that is why called domestication. Here, the earliest plant to be domesticated is wheat and barley. Earliest animal to be domesticated is sheep and goat. They will domesticate animals which were relatively gentle. Okay, and gradually the domestication was done everywhere. Okay, virtually all the plants and animals which produce that we use food as a today is a result of domestication. A new way of life where people will be growing grain will be used as seed, food, gifts, and stored for food also. Now we have to find where were farmers and herders evidence were found. The evidence were found in Neolithic sites, which is Mehgar, Burjahom, Chirand, Kodivaha, Mehgar, Mahagra, Dauji Heding, Hallu, Payimpalli. This all sites were found all over the subcontinent. Here evidence of plant and animal bones were found, and also the remains of burnt grains. Archaeologists have found traces of huts also in Burjahom, which is present-day Kashmir. Here, have built pit houses. People have built pit houses which is dug into the ground with steps leads into them. Stones which were found in Neolithic were different from Paleolithic, including fine cutting edge, mortar, pestle. Some tools were made up of bones also. In Neolithic, earthen pots were also found. Now, it became an important part of diet, that is rice, wheat and lentils. People also started weaving clothes. Then the question is asked, do things change everywhere and all at once? It is not quite. It took time, over several thousand years. Okay. As you know, Meher was a site located Meher was a site located in northwest side. It is a fertile plain near Bolan Pass. It is one of the important route into Iran. Meher is one of the place where people learned to grow barley and wheat, rear sheep and goat for the first time. It is one of the earliest village. It is one of the earliest village. Bones of wild animals and bones of sheep and goat were also found. Here, houses were like in square shape and rectangular, and each houses has four or more compartments. As you can see, here burial also is found in Meher. Burial sites were also found in Meher. Now we'll do questions here. Hunter-gatherers choose to live in caves and rock shelter because they provide shelter from rain, heat, and wind. Grassland developed around 12,000 years ago. Okay, and few points are important, which is related to date. Mesolithic period, as we know, 12,000 years to 10,000 years ago, and beginning of domestication about 12,000 years ago. Beginning of settlement at Meher about 8,000 years ago. Beginning of Neolithic sites was about 10,000 years ago. This was all about this chapter. Thank you. Please do like, share, and subscribe to my channel.